We had some accountability chart that we wanted to talk about today as it relates to scaling your business, right? Everybody here is excited about growth, fixing their business, or in their roles, they're responsible for growth or managing growth in their business. And so I wanted to start first with laying the foundation and the groundwork that will allow you to scale without chaos. And the tool that I think is critical to implement, regardless of size of business, is called the accountability chart. It is one of the ones that Willie and I have implemented several times through our coaching paths. And it is so essential because a lot of organizations say, well, we've got an org chart. Like, why do I need accountability chart? And the key difference between a org chart and accountability chart is clarity. The accountability chart will give you clarity, and it is so good to see when businesses have this implemented, because you'll see small to mid-sized businesses hit a wall. They get to a point, they get to 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 30 million plus, and they're like, how do we scale? What happens here? And it's because everybody in the organization is running wild, being busy. Everybody's busy, but no one's delivering. No one knows what they're accountable for. They're just running around completing their tasks that they believe delivering day in and day out. So what is the accountability chart? It forces the ownership to have proper functions and not titles. I hate it when people get stuck on titles. They're like the director of culture, the director of BS. They're the director of this. Like, no. What are you actually responsible for? Your title is meaning. What are you expected to deliver? So when you think about application to your business, you might have a site foreman, right? And that site foreman is, you give him the title of manager. Okay, right, great. He's your operations manager. What is he actually responsible for? Is he responsible for people managing? Is he responsible for customer retention? Is he responsible for operation cost? What is, in fact, the actual bullet points that individual is responsible for, not just the title? So you want to create your structure first. You want to go into it and say, all right, I want to look into my business 3 to 5 months, or sorry, 3 to 5 years ahead. In some cases, 3 to 5 months, depending on the size of your business. And say, I want to erase my entire org chart today, and I want to create this and build it out for what does my business need and function first. So what are the key pillars and roles that I need? What are my support systems? Do I need an ops role? Do I need a safety role? Do I need a sales role? Do I need an HR role? And create those headings. Once you have that layer, you can then start to implement the 3 to 5 key accountability points that each of those buckets would be accountable for, right? So one of the things that I look for is the technical ability, right? It goes from technical ability to so he's going to become the greatest leader that we have.
Hector, you were cutting out there for the last 20 seconds.
Oh, sorry about that. Which part did you last hear?
You went accountability, and then I couldn't hear.
Oh, sorry. I've got some static out here where I'm at. But what I was saying here is to be careful on the leadership selection piece. Okay, as you go to structure this accountability chart, I often see people that are like, hey, I need to make sure that this person is in a leadership role. You need to ensure that you identify your actual tasks that you need. And those tasks must match the individual that you're going to be putting to be accountable. Do not just place someone there because of necessity or because they've been at your business for a long time. It is one of the biggest mistakes I see in businesses and teams that they do this. Regardless of longevity, regardless of the length of time that they've been there, you have to stay true to your business needs first. Okay, that's one of the common mistakes that I see. The issue that will happen is that if you start to put people into these roles and buckets that are not ready for them, you're going to have overlapping responsibilities, and finger pointing will start to be the end result. Nobody's going to know exactly who's responsible for this. And I'll give you an example where this was live for me. I saw this in an organization where you had two two individuals that were both responsible for operation, right? Both individuals were responsible for, one was responsible for operations in a sense that it was the field staff, and one was responsible for operations building the future. And the two individuals always butted heads because there was no way that you were going to have two different views of points. The field staff and the building to the future and operations needed to be one. But the individual that placed them both in there had loyalties to both individuals and could not determine which one of them needed to go. So when I went in to coach the organization, I was able to say, like, first of all, both of these guys are the wrong guys, and you need to let them go, regardless of the tenure that they've been here. They're actually dragging your business backwards because neither one of them can actually plan and hold accountability. So overlapping roles, finger pointing is something that could really become a big problem for your organization if you don't start to really hit on what's important. The other thing that I see that is a big mistake is giving individuals multiple seats within an accountability chart. This is critical because you start to really stretch out an individual's bandwidth, and the capacity or clarity of the role goes out the window, right? So it's important that we don't do that. And so in your organizations today, you might be building from 1 to 20 individuals. And I think the room that we have here is somewhere in like the 10 individuals size. And so it's important. You're going to start from the basement up. You start to build these roles now for where the future of your organization is going to go, so that when you get there, you have clear eyesight on the specific accountability points, and you're not struggling to put people into positions they're not ready to be successful in. Otherwise, you're going to just spin wheels. So now we start to talk about, how do you go implement it? Like, in concept, this sounds great. I map out this concept of boxes, and I start to plug names and accountability. Okay, sure, fairly easy to get going, but we need to start to get you now put pen to paper from who you are that leads the role to your integrator, to the individual that's your doer, your essential, your second in command in your organization, and then build those out to the function. Who's in charge for your marketing and sales? Who's in charge for your operations? And who's in charge for your finance? Those are your first critical buckets that you're going to need in your teams. Identifying those roles gives you stability as you build out, right? So the mindset then for that visionary or leader should go from, once you've built out your roles, is to start thinking, how do I go from the doer to the owner and to the coach? Because after that is where your team starts to really contribute and is accountable for delivering the end results. It's no longer the owner. So I want to say that once you get this built out, you must emphasize on clarity. Like, clarity is the key of the accountability chart. Empowerment is the secondary function around the accountability chart. You start to empower people to do the role that you've assigned to them. Do not think like, I need to micromanage this individual. They're either going to have it or they're not. And you're going to need to be responsible to trust yourself. You got to let go of the vine. You got to be able to let go and position those people to do the jobs that you hired them for. If you don't do that, you're gonna really stagnate all the growth that is expected out of the organization and out of the accountability chart. So my thought around this is, like, don't hold yourself back. If you're looking to grow, implement an accountability chart that really allows for clarity within the organization, that it lets people know who they report to, and what success look like within the role. If you don't have those things, you're going to have confusion, and confusion kills momentum. So I know, as we talked about this, it's important that we understand the highest return on investment that you're going to have in your business is leadership. It is not like the assets. Leadership will be what moves your business forward. If you fail to put a focus on leadership and accountability, forget it. Like you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to struggle all the way through. So I want to invite everybody to go back to the course that just dropped here on this week. It's going to lay it all out for you. It's going to give you the blueprint to really enable you to implement a clarity around the accountability chart, to give you the tools to talk about financial structure and what do you need to have access to be able to plan ahead and to grow. Um, but before we close off on this, I wanted to go to Willy and talk about some of your learnings, Willy, as we implemented the accountability chart. What were some of your pain points that you went through? What are some of the critical wins that you saw once implemented? And share with the group like how this made you feel as a leader and as a business owner.
Yeah, thanks, Hector. What comes to mind, first of all, is as we build our businesses from scratch, or for me, it was that way where we got to this team of 50 people and we still didn't have a clear organizational chart or accountability chart in place. And the big aha moment was when we went through the exercise and said, let's park all our people out in the parking lot and let's focus on what functions do we need in our business. And so that was kind of the aha moment where, okay, we had kept building roles in our business around people instead of focus on what does our business need for functions in our business around those roles. So yeah, that was a big highlight for me, and just
So you were stuck in that piece where it was like you had people that were loyal to you, and
yeah,
because they were loyal to you, you had placed them into roles that they really had not been ready for.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that was such a big piece once. And we spent at that time, it took us weeks to build out our accountability charter. I guess we were at 80 or 90 employees at that time when we really reorganized everything. But then yeah, before that, it was complete chaos in our team, and people were overlapping, and we weren't sure who's doing that or who's responsible for certain things in our business. So it wasn't getting done, and yeah, just completely uh, running blind basically in our business.
Yeah, I remember one of the key points for me when I looked at this was like who is responsible for communicating back to our customer,
Hmm.
and we didn't really know who that was. Who was responsible for that? Right?
Yeah.
Does it fall on one individual? Does it fall on everybody? Is it structured in their accountability chart? We didn't know that. And so therefore it was like, hey, this customer's been complaining. They emailed a week ago and no one's responded. Oh yeah, that's because I thought you were supposed to. No, no, you were supposed to. And you get like who's accountable for customer communication.
Hector, you were freezing up there again for a last couple seconds there.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, my
Oh,
my internet connection here is not the greatest.
very good. And but then yeah, implementing that in our organization and 6 months to a year later, it was like now all of a sudden for me, you're saying the benefits, it was the pressure was completely off my shoulders from running our chaotic company where now everybody was clear on what they were accountable for and and work was getting done the way it was supposed to, and I didn't have to go home and worry about all the things that oh, I hope that person took care of that and that or whatever the case. So it was just such a relief in my mind, and things started to really take off from there.
Yeah, one of the things that I was saying, and I don't know when I froze, but I was commenting on the fact that you have individuals that were not accountable to communicating back to customers, right? And it was confusion as to who was accountable, who was the one that was going to take the lead in communicating back with customers, and retention as their focal, accountability point, customer communication as accountability points. In that organization, it was chaotic, and yet everybody was had a responsibility. They thought so, but they were like, "I thought you did it. No, I thought you did it," and it's just created that whole bunch of confusion.
Yeah.
So we implemented it. We got it up and running. What was your biggest like relief once it was up and going?
Well, the other thing I think I wanted to point out is before that, we had our management group kind of at our peer or at our leadership level, let's say. And
Yeah,
and so we were 9 people in our leadership team, and when we started looking at this, man, our leadership team needed to shrink, and we shrunk it down to 4 or 5 people, and really figured out what are the top functions in our business. And for us, it was sales, marketing, and operation and finance. Those were the only 3 roles at the top, plus our integrator and visionary role.
that's right. And those are the real live roles that you need in a business, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say regardless of size, outside of a one individual business, if you're 3 to 5, you can implement that. You can easily have something like that where you have an individual that may be sitting in a couple seats at the beginning as your business scales, uh, but then is accountable to those functions in those seats. And everybody knows who's doing that. If somebody is responsible for operations, that they're responsible for that. They're not responsible for finance. And they're not going to be in the finance world telling them what to do,
Yeah.
right? I had an individual this week, which is really odd. He is in sales and marketing. He's a business development guy, and he was tasked with trying to tell the construction team or the service team, what their areas of opportunity were. But listen to this. He's not on the call, although I've invited him before, and so I'm free to say the story. I'm sure he'll listen to it later. Okay, he's a BD guy. He's been tasked with going into the service department, an ops world, and telling them how to fix their ops world gaps and their issues. Right. But here's the problem: those ops guys, they don't know that this guy is now accountable for improvement because their accountability chart hasn't been structured. It has not been communicated. So
Mm.
just this week, this guy calls me and he says, "Man, I just got into a heated discussion with the service individual because he's asking me why am I in their business? Why am I asking questions? Why am I in their meetings?" And I'm like, "Well, easy, because your company's accountability chart isn't clear, and your people are not aware that you are now accountable for finding those gaps. Because once you identify those gaps, it gives you the ability to go grow their business, go be business development guy, finding the opportunities. But because it's not properly communicated, they don't know that. So
Mm.
as we talk about learnings, you said, look, we had all these people in this leadership team and we had to remove them out. And that was a structure. That was a pain because you had people that were upset. They were all of a sudden removed from, you know, but the decision was to make it clear because the people that stayed in, they were accountable for
Mm.
communicating and executing. And it made it easy. It was those individuals. You didn't need 9 of them to lead the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you ask what was kind of the relief for me, or after we had structured it, it was the now it made it so much clear what I needed to focus on. The sales marketing department, the operation department, and the finance department, it was now clear. Those are the main key functions at the top that I need to make sure uh, they are getting what they need from me to perform what they are accountable for. And so it became so much easier to see the business what my role was and just on a day-to-day basis what I needed to focus on.
Well, it took you from from responsible to making every decision to being a coach and helping support,
Yeah,
right? And I think that in itself gave you freedom. It also gave you an opportunity to have an outsider's view into your business and say, hey, like that's not working as it should be. How can we improve on
yeah,
it? Versus you being in the weeds every single time with your head down, trying to problem solve everything all the time? It gave you the ability to step back and have an elevated view. And
yeah.
so having that proper structure with the right people gives the business owner or manager of that department the right structure to do that. So I thought
And
that was
then
really
and that's all internal, but on top of that, now I had time to go and visit our top customers and work on those high valued customers and make sure we're bringing what we need to uh, do for them, right? And
yeah,
just holding on. Yeah,
absolutely. So this is easy on paper, right? Easy on a call. What I want the individuals here to walk away with is knowing how is this actually implemented? Because this is the key. Like there's got to be value for today's call. And I want people to walk away with knowing what is the timeline? What's a realistic timeline to implement this, Will, from your opinion and your
sorry,
experience?
sorry, what the timeline is to,
Yes.
well, yeah, yeah. So for us, I keep saying at our size of business, it took us a good year actually to really see the traction and really having that communication go throughout the company exactly what the organizational chart and who everyone was reporting to and not only that, it's also learning the people to go to the right through the right channels with whatever issues they have. And it was and I had to retrain, or Hector had to retrain my brain when somebody came to me with an operational issue. It's not my responsibility to take on that issue and point them to who they needed to go to with.
Right. That's what I wanted to get to is like the learnings first a year. So like for the business owners in this call, it's not an easy implementation, but it's worth the implementation time. I said this is the highest ROI that you will have in your business is implementing this right structure, focus and investing. Okay. So a year for the size of organization that Willie's Trucking was at the time. So like that was I think 16 million in revenue probably at that time,
Yeah,
right? And when we got there. Um so think about that a year. And that meant that we had the the time to really communicate, let people get comfortable, but also internally structure the channels um, of delegation. So you spoke to people, still came to you, and you had to learn to say that's not my accountability. That's so and so's accountability, right? And
hmm,
so that meant you had to be comfortable trusting that the person in that seat was going to execute per the expectation. So
yeah.
that's also part of this learning experience, and that's why I wanted to hit on that too today.
And you touched on it a little bit. You said earlier, letting go of the vine. That's something that I had to really remind myself, let go. And we now have this structure, and I'm going to trust the process through it.
Yes, yeah. So again, in letting go of the vine is not just for owners. I want to stress this. This is for managers, this is for department heads, this is for leaders in an organization. If you're leading one individual or many, okay, you have to trust that once you assign a task, that task is going to get done. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't follow up. That doesn't mean that you don't hold that person accountable. All those things are part of the evolution of leadership. And so you delegate the task, you set them up for success, but they ultimately have to hit the ball, right? You pitch it to them, they got to hit it. If they don't hit it, it's three strikes and you're out, right? It's it's the way that I look at it, right? You're going to be part of this team, you better deliver or you're freaking gone. So that's for today, I wanted to really hit on that and really just communicate the importance of the accountability chart. If you're in that growth stage, or if you're looking now, you're like, all right, I've hit a plateau. I'm at 1 million a year. I'm at X revenue a year, and I'm looking to grow. Or you're building your grounds level today, and you're like, what are some of the key things I need to implement in my business? Everybody runs for revenue. Everybody's like, I need to get to this revenue. Be careful. Structure first. Structure your business. Identify who's accountable for what. What are those fundamental, foundational buckets that are going to sustain your business for the growth? That will come. You put the right pieces in place, you're going to acquire revenue, the profitability will be there, and your sustainability will be there, which are all why we get into business, right? We get into it to make a buck, but not for it to destroy us. We need it to be fun and we need it to be challenging. And this all comes with setting up the right structure. So that was the speaking to tonight. And again, I encourage everybody to go back to our course. It just dropped. It talks all about scaling, talks about ensuring that you set up the right processes and structuring your business to grow. And so want everybody to go there. I'd like to open it up back to you, Alan, and we'll get some Q&A going here today. And let's talk about accountability chart, growing your business, and pain points.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for that. I've have some questions, but I
Yeah.
don't want to hog the questions. I think back to some of the businesses I've run in the past, especially when I was first starting out. I thought, woo, I wish I'd have known some of this stuff back then. Hey, but yeah, let's go ahead and open it up. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Welcome. We didn't get to see you right off the get-go, but thanks for joining us. So now this is the time. If you've got some questions for either Willy or Hector or both, this is the time for you to chime in, ask them. I don't think anything is off the is off limits. And if you've got some comments to add, we'd love to hear those as well. So we don't have to do this in a formal structure. You don't have to put your hand up. We don't have that many people on the call. So just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away. Who's first? And we get
I'd like to add just if you don't really have a question around this accountability stuff, feel free to ask any question. We're here to help you out in any way we can.
Right on. Let me just ask right off the get-go. It may sound like a stupid question, but what is the name of the course that just dropped that you're referring to?
Yeah, it's scaling your business.
Business.
It's right. It's learning how to scale your business, right?
I didn't want to take that for granted. I'm going to put that in the chat for us, and thank you.
Absolutely. So last week we talked about implementing a cheat code. So James, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. Did you get a chance to do that?
Sorry, say again.
We talked about implementing the cheat code huddle for your business.
No.
No, you didn't.
No,
you didn't implement it.
I've been in the field almost all week myself, so.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. I told you I'd be welcome. I'd jump on a call with your team and get that going.
Yeah. No, that has not happened, but yeah, we'll keep working on that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you next week.
There you go.
So guys, this is how I hold accountability for all of you watching, right? And thanks, James. I appreciate you being honest here, because that's what I do, guys. Like I go into businesses and I encourage all of you to do the same thing, right? We communicate an expectation and then we follow up, and then eventually people are gonna get on the hot seat, and they just get it done, right? So easy peasy, just like that. Right. And so let's open it up again. Back to the room.
Absolutely. Anybody got a question? We're all silent zilch. I love the fact that you talk about, don't assign roles based on, or even titles, but I know it wasn't about titles, but don't assign roles based on tenure or longevity or loyalties, or just because someone needs to be put in a position or someone needs to be assigned something, or just because someone's been there a certain length of time, so they maybe deserve to have a, boy, I've seen that happen so often. Not only because I've been employed in businesses like that, because I've been the guy that have done that in my own. That is right on the money. Absolutely.
One of the things that I see quite often, and I've done it, so I'm just as guilty. You start a business and you bring family in first, right? Your brother, your cousin, your brother-in-law, You know, there's always a family connection at the beginning of a business. Who has had success with that?
Mm.
Adam, you've had success. Wow, you're like the rare one. Tell us about how that worked for you, or how it's working for
Well, Hector, as you know, I've got Jay with me.
you.
Uh,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
he is great. He's fabulous. He takes a lot of stress away from me. It takes a lot of work away from me, and I try to mentor him in whatever way I could. So we have become like a really good team. And my wife helps me too. She's kind of in the background. That's where she helps. But me and
Oh,
him, for the
nice.
most part, it has been great so far. We have that sometimes you have that just that level of understanding which comes organically. We never worked on understanding. We just understood each other like just organically. So everything just
Nice.
happened by itself, and it worked
Okay.
out for both of us.
Now, question for you: have you and him have defined roles and accountability, like that you're responsible for something and he's responsible for something?
Yeah, we always do it. We have our roles, and we sit down at least if not every day, then every other day, and we discuss about it. His part, for example, is the maintenance part. So
Okay.
right, he
Okay.
stays on top of the maintenance. If the trucks are coming for oil, coming due for oil change or whatever the deal is, and that's his part. My part is dealing more of the finance part and dealing with the new hires and growth and scaling. While you guys were talking, I was listening about scaling. I have I have like a strange question in my mind, like about scaling. It's like it's gonna sound so stupid. What if scaling is not even a option? What if, because if I think about my business and I think about scaling my business, I think there's some factors that are actually beyond my control, and they actually set the tone for the scale. Like for example, give the cost of the
Mhm,
equipment. Cost of the
mhm,
equipment past few years has gone up so much. I don't have no say on that. If
mhm.
a truck is 350,000, a truck is 350,000, right? I have no say
Right.
on that. And then that's one thing. And then the cost of maintenance has gone through the roof. I have no say on that either, right?
Mhm,
And finding good people, so I'm thinking while you guys were talking, like, holy shit, am I in the wrong business? Like, I don't see my business having another leap of like 5 trucks, because I just don't see the profits. So does that mean that this is the ceiling I've hit, and now I have to look for other businesses within my own business? Like,
mhm,
I can use
mhm.
this as a cash cow, so to say,
Yep. Yep.
and take that money away and have a business of buying business. Like, does that make sense?
Yes. Absolutely. And, organically, my answer for what you're describing was going to be, it sounds like you have an acquisition opportunity. If you can't scale based on adding more equipment because of the cost, you might have to go acquire another business that is going to give you the growth that you're looking to have, right? Whether that's another owner operator group that might have already a small business, but might be struggling financially and might be willing to give you a good deal on it. That's when you could buy them, acquire them, and now you grow your pool of owner operator assets. Or as you mentioned, you leverage what you have as a cash flow mechanism to go grow another business and implement something else on the other side.
Well,
But
that's
those would,
that. Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, so those would be sort of where I would view opportunities for growth and scaling for somebody in your case, Pat.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I said, I mean, having taking over another group of owner ops, I think will be just multiplying your own, multiplying the set of problems that you already have. Like, you can take over a business, a smaller
Mhm,
like group with 4 or 5 trucks, but then the core stays the same. Like, the cost of the equipment will stay the same, the
mhm,
cost of the maintenance will stay the same, the
mhm.
people factor in this in the business will stay the same. So those are the factors I don't have any control over. And I think, as you said, buying businesses under this business could be the business I should be looking
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I would structure it, and again, this is just, rough without knowing your numbers or the position and where you'd be at. I think it would give you an opportunity to leverage your cash flowing business sustainable, to look at growth opportunities outside of this business itself, right? But you know, from your description of you and your cousin, I thought that was amazing that you both already have some accountability points, and that like speaks to why it's successful. So you know, bringing it back to my original question, because
Yeah.
like so many, and myself included, like I've hired and fired my brother-in-law. So, so to give you an idea, right? And it's crappy because you learn from it. Like the structuring, the accountability bucket points are so important, and so many in new startups or new businesses always go the family route, and that's why I wanted to hit on accountability today. As you're doing that, and as you're scaling, because your brother, your cousin, your family member may not be the one you're going to grow with. So
And
be ready for what that
yeah,
might
no,
do.
and we had our issues. I think sometimes it just not it is not meant to be. Like, I had my challenges with my other distant family members where I know that my work ethic and their work ethic does not match, and you can tell, like, it's not going to work out. So I think taking those chances is not even worth it. And
Mm,
sometimes it just happens. Like me and Jay, for you know him, like,
yes,
it
yes,
just it's good. I mean, it helps a lot. I think if it works out, then it helps a lot.
yes, yes. When it's structured right, it can work. Absolutely, absolutely. Great to hear, and I'd love to know more about where your growth opportunities are. I think we can certainly help. You know, look at what you want to do from a growth perspective. I'd like to help you in that. So certainly, like message me, and you know, whether directly on my phone or in the community, and we could talk through it, Pat, because I think you've got something really good. Your business is stable. It's doing well, and let's take those learnings and apply it to another type of business out there that can really elevate your portfolio.
Absolutely. I will be sending you a long message about my other
Cool.
business that I just started. And it's
Love it.
just in the
Love it.
in the phase of beginning, and it's just starting up right now. But I will definitely keep you in the loop, and I need a lot of mentorship for because I have no expertise on my second business. I'm partnering with one of my really good friends, and it's about solar panels and heat pumps and all that.
Oh
Right?
man, you're in the community. Like you got
Yeah.
Willie. He's built out and sold a multi-million-dollar business. You've got, James from Apex who runs a service organization. You're here. This team can help, guide, and this is what we said, right? Everybody gets in what they put in, and we can share ideas, share best practices, all in this community. So please, yeah, well, I'd love to hear more about it.
And
Absolutely.
I'd like to say,
Yeah,
like,
Willie.
Um, and the other thing, me and Hector, we have had meetings this week, and we're really looking at, okay, how can we bring the most value to this community possible? And we're looking at bringing in different speakers to speak to different topics, and
Mm.
and then also we've now talked about where we want this more one-on-one, where we would like to actually do a one-on-one with each of you, and really let you guys ask questions on very specific things for your business. So we're all that is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, Willie is created, and I don't want to like let it out too early, but there's a questionnaire that's going to be coming out, which will help us profile your specific organizational pain points and where your organization needs improvement. And that way we can discuss it openly as a community. We can help you one-on-one as well. All of that will be the benefits of being part of this group. So I want to just, tie that into to how you're going to be able to leverage this for business structure, business growth, and then overall business clarity, right, and peace of mind you're building out something that should be really cool and exciting and not a pain point and frustrating. Yeah, let's continue to go around the room. Who else has got some
Adam,
questions here?
Adam, that
Oh,
was excellent. I love the fact, this time isn't just to ask a simple question, but we can get hot seat coaching right on the spot. That is
yeah.
brilliant. And we all learn from it. So it's so good. Thanks for breaking the ice there, Pat. Anyone else have a question, a comment? Yeah, James.
Yeah, I got a question. How long should it take for you to identify the right guy for a specific role? When you're talking of family, one of the last guys I hired, he was with the previous company for probably 7 years, trying to work his way up to management.
Okay.
The guy that he worked for put out an ad. He was looking for a manager, and he was so pissed off he quit. Right, because he had worked there for 7 years trying to get to that seat, just to
Yeah.
find out he doesn't qualify. And
Right.
he just pulled the plug, because he was, if this is how you want to roll the dice, then I'm out. Right. So for
Yeah.
me,
Mm.
I'm assuming, probably that's kind of where he would possibly want to go with us. But how quick should a guy be able to identify if it's the right guy for the right seat?
Yeah, great question. Every role, if structured correctly, right? Because we talk about the accountability chart and the bullet points. So if you have that structure and you use that as your map, that's your map. Don't focus on the person, focus on the bullet points. And then you cross-check it to what the individual is delivering to. That will give you the answer that you just asked. So if you see somebody that you have 5 bullet points and that person can only deliver 3, well, then right off the bat, you know this person's off track. Now you got to ask yourself, can they get the other 2 up to par fast enough, or are they never going to get there? If the answer is they won't get there, let them go. Hire slow, fire fast, right? Like I generally can identify when a person's going to fit in my team with no less than like within 3 months. I just
Can I ask, is that
Yeah.
something that you just determine based on your own observations, or do you actually engage that person in conversation to see if they have the elasticity to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, both, combination of both. It's weekly check-ins, it's quarterly conversations, but at the beginning stages, it's weekly check-in. Every Friday, I'll do like a one with the individual and ask some questions about progression, understand what are some of the things that they are doing well, and provide some feedback on wins and losses throughout the week. And based on answers and results, I'll know if that person's going to make it on my team. Now, I gotta prefix it with like I have really high standards on my team, right? And I would encourage all of you to have the same. But like for me, and Willie can speak to it. I've been known as the guy that just doesn't play around. I go into organizations and clean them up.
So what I'm picking up in that is not only then are you aware, or the leader is aware that this person does have what it takes or doesn't have what it takes, or where the gaps are, but then like James is asking, then that person knows that as well, and
That's right.
they know then what they have to do to close the gap to get there if they want to get there and pursue that, or they know if they're missing the mark and they can't get there, at least they know that, and then it shouldn't come as a surprise that Bubba over here got the job and I didn't, so now I'm just going to be pissed off and leave.
That's exactly it.
Good.
Because through those functions, through those check-ins, and holding it through the accountability points, you now have data to be able to communicate to the individual. This isn't like a feeling read. This is not a feeling. I don't feel like you could do this. I know that you can do this. And I know that you can't because you haven't showed it to me. So go show it to me, and then we can talk about progression. You don't show it to me, then we got to have a different conversation. And
I
it
love
takes
that
the
it takes
feeling
the emotion, it takes your emotion and your opinion out of the deal, and it just deals with facts.
with fast. That's how I work fast, right? And so to answer your question, James, I would not be focused on like what is the length of how fast can I get it there. I'd be like, here are the bullet points that I need to focus on to ensure that I'm objectively, like really objectively looking at this person and role. Can they do it? Can they fit? And if not, gone. Or
Yeah.
and if they can fit, let them grow.
Okay.
Yeah, another thing I would add, if the accountability chart is so clear with those bullet points, a person, we have experienced it where once they found out what they were really accountable for that role, they all of a sudden said, no, I'm not that person even. So they will even see themselves all of a sudden, no, I'm actually not wanting that role after all.
Yeah,
that's right. And they fire themselves.
Yeah.
Hector, are
They
you hard to
leave.
work for?
No, I don't know. I mean, I've had a few individuals here that work with me. Willie, you could probably answer that.
I'm being a little facetious.
Alan, I believe I have high standards.
And rightfully so, we should, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I believe that if you know, we're in a position of leadership, and that is something that we should not take for granted. We should feel like super proud of those opportunities, and therefore we need to deliver what we're expected of us, right? And whether you're a business owner or you are a leader in the department, you're you know, you're fortunate to be in that spot. Let's deliver the best possible outcome and build the right people.
I love the fact that you talked to us tonight, Hector, about, you know, part of the accountability chart is, you know, yes, understanding who does what and who's responsible for what, but then defining what success in those roles look like for each of the individuals that's going to be there. And I love that because I believe it's been missing so far too much for so many people and so many organizations. Okay, you know, Joash, I'm going to give you this role, and Dom, you get that role, and here's the responsibilities that. But we don't paint the picture for them with clarity of what success actually looks like in that. We're still screwed.
That's right. Like you can all think about it. You know, you've promoted somebody or you've hired somebody into your business and you give them the nice fancy title. But do they know? Like, do they actually understand what winning looks like for that title? No, they're just like, they're the director of sales. Okay, I got to go sell. Tell how much and by when, right? Like, and by when? When do you have to accomplish that? Is that a one-time thing? Or is that every quarter? Is that every year? Like, what does success look like for every role? So that you know if you're actually winning or losing in your role. Because otherwise, we're just there. We're just collecting a paycheck. We're just spinning wheels. So think about that as you're implementing this accountability chart. So let's go around the room. Like I'd like to hear more questions. We still have plenty of time, folks. I know the puck will drop in a couple minutes, but
What about Daniel, Gordon, Dom? Have you got some questions or something to add, to chime in, comment?
I can ask one if no one else is going. I thought
Let's
Hector
do
would
it.
call on me, so I was thinking of one while you guys were going. So maybe
Yeah,
I'll
your
just start
turn.
with I'll start with a tiny bit of background and then I'll ask a question. So I worked with Hector a while ago. I ended up leaving to move in a different direction to go work with some small businesses. So I started in a new role like a month and a half ago, which is with a friend of mine. So I'm already violating one of Hector's main rules there, which is great. um, so it's a close friend of mine, his business partner. They've recently started like what they're calling a holding company, but it's more like a parent company. And they've acquired within the last like year and a half, 3 different smaller companies that are all real estate service related. So property management company, construction company, and landscaping company. And so we now, as of very, very recently, there's 4 people working in this holding company or parent company. The businesses are somewhat established, but we're basically in startup mode as the holding company and as the 4 of us that are the brain trust. So I guess my question to like tie it back into structure, because I know that's the theme for today. What if you're in a situation where like the accountability chart doesn't seem like the biggest focus? Like we just set up company emails last week. Like I'm probably on a way different situation than a lot of other people in this room, but do you start with that? Is there any point where you do some other things first? Like I'm just looking for some advice, I guess, on that. Yeah.
Totally. So you're the perfect example that I would be like, let's structure your accountability now. Let's structure it
Sure.
now. Because if you don't do it today, in 3 to 6 months from now, once you start to get emails, once you start to get phone calls, you guys are going to be tripping all over each other because
Sure.
who's accountable for the construction company? Who's accountable for the service company? Right? And who's actually looking after the whole co or the financial positioning of the company?
Yeah.
So today is where you sit down and you're like, before we do anything, here's the bullet points. And what does success look like in the construction company? What does success look like in the whole co company? Right? And so on. And that will then allow you to then like feel the activity that's going to come your way. So I would be like, go invest on that. Go spend a couple days, get clarity, pure clarity around the accountability piece.
Nice.
Okay.
Willie, I don't know how
That's-
you know your answer to that question, Willie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that now, after going through all the chaos that I've gone through in my startup, it's now the structure piece is number one focus, and let's build everything out from there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it doesn't feel at this point that that's like a great use of time, but I'll take the advice. Absolutely. It does.
I
Makes a lot
know.
of sense. It'll save future us. And Save a lot of
It
messing
will.
around, eh? Yeah.
I know, trust me, today you're like, man, I don't need that. Like, do I need to spend a day doing this when I can go grow the business? And I touched on it earlier. Everybody's startup mode is focused on revenue, which is great. Absolutely. You need the revenue to sustain your business. But the chaos that will come later if you don't
Sure.
structure today will become losses later.
Yeah.
They will become you might have X profit, but you will have zero in the bank account because you didn't structure right. You did not spend the time to have role clarity in your organization, and you're going to have dysfunction. So put the investment, put that ROI on the accountability in your business now. 3, 6 months, a year, 2 years, you're going to be super happy that you did.
Okay.
So
Do you go?
later equals loss.
Yeah.
Do you need to have an org chart before an accountability chart? Like, does one have to come before the other? I know that they're different. You guys explained that at the beginning.
No, I would focus on your accountability. For
First.
me,
Okay.
that would be your first point. The org chart is secondary. The org chart gives you like defined like roles or like titles and that. I want to know who's doing what and
Sure.
who's accountable for what. That's more important. And I'm an ops guy, so for me it's all about activity, right? So that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
Well done.
Yeah,
Thanks for
good
chiming in,
one,
Dom.
good
I
one.
appreciate your question. It was excellent. Daniel,
Thank
anything
you.
from you want to chime in today? Gordon? Joash on the road, what about you?
Oh, everybody's getting ready for the game. I get it. I know the
Yeah,
puck's
yeah.
gonna drop soon. All
We
right,
all got
folks.
our
Yep.
secondary device over here. We're kind of looking at it, eh? No.
Yeah, I get it. I really appreciate everybody jumping on here today and starting to really focus on fundamentals, right? This is as we grow our community, Willie and I were talking last night, and we really want to focus on adding value and the fundamentals of business. We can all tell you go focus on your revenue or go do this. We want it's in the little things that will be the big wins later. So again, from my standpoint, I encourage everybody to communicate, be active in the community. Go look at that course again. It just dropped. We now have a number of courses in our toolbox. There's so many good cheat codes in there. So if you're not in there, like reviewing these and watching them, then you're missing out. You're missing out. There's some good nuggets in there.
Right on. Look at what Willie has just put on the screen. And I was just going to say in our last dying minute, we're at the hour, but if you are in the community, then engage in the community, take the courses. I'm excited to take this course this week. I'm going to commit to doing it, and you can hold me accountable to that, Hector. And if you're not in the community, get off your butt and get in the community. It's going to do nothing but help you scale and grow and become successful. And that's what we want. Willie, did you want to take us through something specifically?
I was just going to highlight, I ended up building an assessment tool for your company. So anyone can come in here and take this assessment. It's a free tool. This is what it looks like. I'll just show you briefly. This asks for your name and email. That way it's labeled in the system who took the assessment. And I'll just show you a quick review on that, which I believe is pretty cool how it works.
Does our company need to be a certain size, Willie, with a certain amount of employees or a certain amount of managers and staff before we do an assessment like this? Or something? Is there such a thing as a business is too small to do an assessment?
I would say anyone could do this. What it will give you are some very key important things to think about your business as you grow. Let's say you're not there where you don't need these daily KPIs or performance indicator measurements for your business yet. But you know what? You're going to start getting what you need to focus on based on where you're at. So here's 28 questions of all these different questions. And I want to just kind of go through this quickly here and show you what it gives you for a report at the end. And it gives you a pretty nice visual what to focus on in your business. here below, we got the bar, how far I'm along in the quiz here. Just
Man, you
press
read fast.
Yeah.
and and so yeah, it once it's done, it's supposed to upload the report here right away. Now my
Yeah,
internet.
what it does is it takes the questions that you've answered and it compiles a pie chart for you that
Mm,
gives you a percentage of strength and weaknesses that will give you a like almost like a quick like focus point of where you need to go and hit on some low hanging fruit.
so it gives you a visual.
It does. It gives you that visual. Absolutely.
Love it.
I think I
So
might still.
can
Do you have
you
it? Though?
can you see this now?
Yeah,
Yes, we
yeah,
can.
we can. Yeah.
So it gives you an overall score, and then it shows each department, the vision piece, the data, operational efficiency, and then it kind of writes it out for you, a little idea where to focus on and what to focus on.
Great
And
tool.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
if you go to the 0% one, Willie, I think it's good just to maybe hit on that a little bit. So like there's one, I think it was the issues. Go down. Oh,
issue. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
yeah, there we go. So look what it says is you're facing significant issues and challenges. They need to be addressed. Conduct a thorough analysis and identify root cause and develop strategic plan to tackle these hurdles effectively. So like now it's telling you like go address issues because you're not dealing right? Start to create a means of airing them out, make them be known, make that accessible to your team and to your organization. Most people believe that talking about issues is a bad thing, and it's not. You want to air those out. You want to have problems to fix, and being open about that is a good thing in your company. It's when you don't discuss them and you don't talk about them that you create frustration. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
touch on that because that might be a theme coming up here very soon. So just
Mm.
plugging that in.
Willie and Hector, I have one maybe final question, and that is just based on what you just showed us right here. So let's just assume that I come in to take the assessment and I get a 0 like that, and it says now I have to. I lost the words are gone there, but it's, now I need to address these things. Well, as a member in the community, if I say, well, okay, great, but how do I address these? Are you two available to me to walk me through, to coach me through, to or to come in for me and to address those issues in my company? Is that part of what is available to me in the community, or is that kind of over and above thing?
Yeah, I mean, Willie, you can answer that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to make quite a bit of my time available to specifically for that. I said the other day I'm going to take on at least 5 or 6 more new clients, do a one-on-one coaching around that.
Love it. Beautiful.
And then there's the community, right? I would be, I would pose that question for the community. Who's had success overcoming this issue? And let's let the community share best practices. I want
Yeah.
to encourage that. There's a lot of organic opportunity here. Not everybody's struggling. Some of you are struggling some things, but some of you are winning in others. Let's talk
Mhm.
about the wins and then share those opportunities to build up others in the community too.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
back to the assessment there, I wouldn't mind if everybody in the community did that assessment, and it will show us a little bit what is the common issue or what we should really teach around.
It'll pull some themes for us,
Yeah.
right?
So is
Right.
that
And
a
I think
challenge you're going to lay out for us right now? Just drop it as a challenge. Say, hey, your assignment, should you choose to accept? No, what is it? Your your
not
mission, should
choose,
you choose to
not
accept it, right?
choose.
So that's it. Go and take an assessment this week. Who cares what the outcome is? Go and take the assessment, and Hector will hold us accountable to it.
That's it. You got it. You got it. That's the task for this week. And then we're gonna make this a habit. Every week we're gonna end the call with a task and a to do, a challenge, right? A challenge for the week. You should feel empowered and charged up after being here and ready to rip, right? Like ready to go. And so I want to make sure that your takeaway today is go do a deep assignment of analysis in your organization, complete that quiz, and then be ready to speak to it next week when we all meet again. Is I'll look for that, and I'll look for the huddle implementation James organization, right? So
All right. I think that's a beautiful note to end on, Hector. We'll
yes,
just take the
awesome,
challenge and run with it.
absolutely. Thanks again, guys. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Go Oilers,
Thanks.
go.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.